Welcome to the Advance Your Art podcast, where we talk about the journey from artist to entrepreneur and everything in between. You've worked hard to hone your craft. Now take it to the next level with tips, techniques, strategies, and routines used by successful artists to grow their businesses and careers. Now, let's get started and have some fun with your host, Yuri Cataldo.
Kim, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing super well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So I'd like to start off by you telling me a little more about yourself. So how do you describe yourself and what you do?
Sure. So essentially the way I describe myself is we have a business that helps business owners focus on doing what they do best. So we help them alleviate the problems of marketing and lead generation so that they can just focus on working with their clients and getting them results or serving them at the best level possible.
Oh, great. What size of companies do you usually focus on? Is it just small businesses or is it lots of other types as well?
Yeah, sure. So it really depends because we help. So basically, I would say small-ish businesses. Mm-hmm. We help them by helping them install marketing systems into their business. We teach them our systems and how they can execute them in their business. And then we have for the larger businesses, we have done for you service where we'll actually do the marketing for them, set it all up, run it, manage it, optimize it in an ongoing process as well. So we really kind of work across a pretty broad spectrum, if you will, from people doing, anywhere from $70,000 to $100,000 a year in their business upwards of $1 million plus.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know. All right. Well, before we get more into your company, let's take a couple steps back. Why did you study international business in college?
To be honest, I just thought it would be something cool. Like I looked at all the things and then they were like, oh, you need to go to university to get good jobs. I was like, okay, well, I've always kind of liked business and I wanted to be like a businessman. So I assume I could do normal business, but international business just sounds so much cooler. So I'll just do international business then.
Yeah, well, you're right. It does sound so much cooler than just regular studying business. So yeah, so then after you graduated, what did you do?
So I was working full time when I was at uni as well, but I got out and I thought, okay, as soon as I finish, I'm going to be able to get a job as like a management consultant. I'll be able to get into these big companies and, be flying all over the world doing cool stuff, which did not happen because once I came out of university, even though I'd been working and I had my degree, they're like, well, you don't have experience necessarily in this field. I was like, well, how am I meant to get experience if you don't give me experience? This sounds like stupid. Like, how do I get started then? Which they didn't have an answer for me. So, I worked in a couple of different companies as like a general manager and office manager. And I started to get a little bit, not bored, but I could see, well, I'm not really doing much. I'm not really pushing my potential. So then I decided to start my own business and go out there and actually help and work with people. And then as a byproduct of that, I got to do international things. So I got to fly around, I get to travel, speak around the topics of like lead generation and Facebook marketing and online marketing, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up getting what I wanted, but it was just in a slightly different way than I thought originally.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So could you tell me about that moment when you decided that you were at your day job and you were like, nope, this is not what I want to do. I want to start my own company. Were there books you were reading to do that? Did you just like jump from one to the other? Was it a slower process? How did that?
I'm very. When I make a decision, I take action very quickly on things. So I kind of just like, it was about Christmas time, and I was told that I had to work on all the days that weren't public holidays, so I had to go in, so I couldn't go away with my family like we normally did every year. And that kind of frustrated me a little bit. And I was like, look, all right, cool, I'm done. I'm going to start. Like I've been doing I've always been doing marketing online and different things over the years. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to jump. And I think I was getting like $200 a week from a client to do some like social media stuff for them on the side. So I was like, I'm just going to jump and I'm just going to do it and see what happens. So I did, probably foolishly, but I jumped anyway. So I was reading more so probably I would say not necessarily business books, but probably a lot of like motivational, inspirational things. So I was just like, Tony Robbins, just say yes. I was like, I'll figure it out. But it definitely hurt my hip pocket by doing it that way. That's for sure.
Sure. Excellent. Okay. So why particularly, so you started your Social Voice. Why did you decide to go into, public speaking and to be focusing on lead generation and the marketing side?
Well, I always found, like when I first started, I did do a lot of different social media things, but I found that it was very hard for me to justify charging people money just to manage their social media. Like I think now some people get it and they go, cool, it's going to save me time so someone else can manage it for me, which is cool. But at the time, this is like 4 or 5 years ago, it was still a very hard sales, let me manage your social media. Like, cool. Like, what does that mean? How many new clients am I going to get? How is this going to work? I'm like, that doesn't really I was like, yeah, true. I remember I had a meeting. I was like, yeah, look, to be honest, you're pretty accurate there. I was like, what about if I did, advertising for you online on social media so that we could tangibly measure how many new customers we get you. They're like, oh yeah, that sounds good. They're like, how much is it? I'm like, I didn't really think of it. I was like, $3,000 a month. They're like, yeah, sure, let's do that. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So it was a much easier conversation. So I was like, I need to focus on this side. Mm-hmm. And just as a byproduct of some of my clients who had event-based businesses and education-based businesses, they asked me to come and speak at a few of their events. And I started doing more of that, and I was like, wow, afterwards I got a lot of inquiries from the people that heard me, and it just allowed me to really test and see how much I knew, because I think it's very easy to go, yeah, I know a topic, but if you have to teach someone how to do it to the point where they get results with it as well, I think you have to have a pretty solid understanding and good grasp of your topics and of the different strategies that you're using to be able to get someone else to be able to get similar results to you.
Yeah, definitely. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit. So I was looking at kind of your site and the companies you've worked with, and there are some, exceptional companies on here. The Australian government, Gary Vaynerchuk, Reese Witherspoon. So as you were growing this company, how were you able to secure such great clients?
To be honest, nearly every single one of them came from a person that I'd given tremendous value to. So 2 of those were through clients where I'd just given them heaps of value, probably done a little bit of work for them for free and helped them out. And then they made recommendations to me like, oh, cool. Oh, we have this event coming up where Gary Vaynerchuk's doing his launch of his book, Ask Gary V. Mm-hmm. Kim, can you do the marketing? And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll take that job. And someone was like, oh, Kim, we heard that you did really good job with the Gary V event. Like, can you do this event with us with Reese Witherspoon? I'm like, sure. So all these ones started coming, and then another guy's like, yeah, cool, Kim, we work with, we're the Australian local government. We want to do this and this. Can you help us? And I was like, yeah, cool, let's do it. So it's it always came as a byproduct of me helping out other people, and then you never know who people know. There's always that 6 degrees of separation or whatever it is. So every experience or every interaction, I try and give as much value as possible to people, and then also ensure that I do the best job possible, so that as a byproduct of that, if something pops up, they'll think of me, even if I don't do work with them, even if it's just some feedback or advice. At least they'll have that in the back of their mind that the person to speak to is Kim.
Yeah, excellent. So, as someone who is an expert in social media, Facebook ads, the lead generation, what are some of the bad advice that you see people using all the time?
Good question. It's like, I think that the bad advice that people get, especially when it comes to lead generation, I think just probably I'll categorize it even on social media, is that they get told a certain strategy from someone who is, I'll say 10 steps ahead of them. So they'll see someone and they'll see a Gary V or someone who's like, yeah, cool, do 100 content pieces a day, right? And so people go, oh, I need to do 100 content pieces a day. And it's like, well, hang on, you don't even have a consistent source of leads coming into your business, or let alone marketing and sales. So why, don't focus, yes, if you have a company valued at $250 million, sure, just focus on doing 100 content pieces. Yeah. But if you don't, the first thing you need to do is focus on how do you consistently bring leads into your business, make those into sales for your product or service, and consistently do that week on week, month on month, year on year. That should be the first objective. Okay. And I think people see too much people that are, like they try and follow someone who's 10 steps ahead of them and doing what they're doing right now. They're just going, cool, what did they do 10 steps prior? And let me do that.
Yeah. So with that, is that something that your company specializes in? Like if it's someone who's like listening to this and their, their company is not doing as well, do you help bringing them from, step 0 all the way to, those 10 steps?
Exactly. So, the biggest thing I say, look, and if your company is like really less than $2 million in turnover, all you need to be focused on is consistent lead generation systems and sales systems. So bringing leads in and then offering them your product or services. If you don't have those in place, or like you may have the turnover levels, but maybe like you don't have a consistent source and it's very sporadic, it's like all you need to do is focus on that. And so we help them get to the level where they have that as their focus. They have a system that consistently brings them leads. Then, then comes other problems, right? But there's always going to be different problems and issues to face in business. But getting them to that point is our goal. It's going cool. At least then the marketing side is under control. The sales side should, fingers crossed, as long as their business is good, be under control. Yeah. Then they can look at the next evolution of their business.
Sure. Okay. Could you tell me a little bit about the books you have written? So why did you decide to become an author? And and tell me a little bit more about your 2 books.
Yeah, sure. So the first one was really just because at the time I wanted to do something to build a little bit of authority. So some of my good friends, we all came together like, okay, let's collaboratively put together a book where it was all on, the title was Winning in Life and Work. Or winning in life and business, sorry. So looking at, cool, how do you win in the game of life and how do you win in the game of business? And I tied that into using social media to win at business. So for me, I really wanted to find something that I could use as an authority piece and go, hey, look, I not that I just talk about this stuff, but, I've written a book on it. Was really my goal.
Sure.
And that was my first one. Then the second one is actually, I think it's, I just uploaded a new version of it to Amazon, which is the Facebook ads triad. And it's like how to really grow a business using Facebook ads and breaking down some of the campaigns that we've done to, add over 15 million in sales to some of our clients' businesses. Mm-hmm. So for that one, it was really more a tangible, the other one was like, yes, I talked about some principles, but this one was looking at cool, tangibly, what should you do within your business and marketing through Facebook ads to generate some results? And that's really so I can show people results in advance. So it's like, hey, if you go and look at and you read that book and you execute one thing and it gets you a result, fingers crossed, next time you need some help, you'll come and speak to me.
Yeah.
And you'll ask for your social voice. So that's really why that one was created, was to go, let's give people some actual tangible things that they can do so that they can get results in advance. And then, next thing we know, hopefully they'll come and want to work with us as well.
Yeah. Wonderful. So because you focus so much on Facebook and Facebook advertising, what are some, I guess, just simple things that people can do that would instantly improve their Facebook advertising?
Well, so I break it down into 3 categories when it comes to how to improve anything. So when it comes to your ads, which is the niche, so who you're targeting, the offer, so what you're putting to the marketplace, and then the copy, which is how it's written. So I call it the NOC method. So when we look at it, normally, most of the time, one of those 3 things sucks. And to be honest, even it happens to my campaigns all the time, etc. It's fine. Yeah. So most of the time I find that people are probably being too broad with their niche. They're being too non-specific with their offer, and they haven't really articulated it well. So that's just a general broad brushstroke. So normally I recommend, like, if you have a business that operates online, or maybe it's in a larger geographic region, you really should be targeting, it should be men or women that you're targeting. It should be a 10-year age bracket. You should have the demographic and psychographic factors of them. Are they business owners? Are they not? What do they do? Do they like to travel? Like, you really need to have that dialed in. I say most people don't have that to start off with. Mm-hmm. And then in their offer, they're not really articulating, or like, I'll say selling, but it's, they're not positioning the outcome that the client's going to get. Like, we had one of our clients who's, we had a call with yesterday, doing tremendously well in their business, but, and they run events. But when we looked at the event, I was like, it's interesting, but it's not enough to make me want to jump over my friend to secure a ticket to go to this event.
Sure.
But it's good. So if I had spare time, maybe I'd buy a ticket and I'd go. So then we went through and reassessed the offer and go, cool, well, what's